Yeah, everybody. This is episode 115 of the Carry and the Culture Show. DC spitter, producer, life coach, record collector, swell fellow, J Scienide at Whole Foods, getting his healthiness on. And so, thank you very much for rocking with us, man. I appreciate you, and I'm glad we got this opportunity. I really, like I said, I don't know early. I don't know shit about you. Um, I,
Yo,
I don't. I don't. So
yo,
yeah. So thank you, man.
I'm a mystery, man. I'm pretty much a mystery. That's what I
Wow,
guess.
we about to unravel that shit right now. You know what I'm saying? We about to unravel that shit. So, again, thank you very much for rocking with us and taking the time out of your schedule to build and shit. So we're gonna jump around. I got a lot of things to get into, and for me, like I said, I don't know anything. So I heard you. I heard you on the Grime Lords joint, Power Refinement. That was one of my top. That was my top track of 2018. I think that's when I dropped.
Yeah.
Um, no,
Shout out to Born. Shout out to J Royale.
yeah,
You know what I'm
Pete
saying? Shout out to
West,
Pete Twist. Yeah, that shit
shit
was
was a missile. I mean,
dope.
play it I pump it like at least once or twice a week. Shit's fire. And then I met you in person in Philly at a show.
Yeah,
You gave me you
yeah.
gave me this home run right here.
We was in that building that like it was like some warehouse type shit.
Artist loft shit, like weird, like weird warehouse go. It was weird.
Yeah.
Um, Still don't know anything though. And then fast forward to 2020, I didn't really hear the algorithms are crazy. I didn't really hear any music, or you were dropping shit. Then I heard the Body Bag joint, Bigger to my man Body Bag Ben. And then as I'm prepping for the interview, I'm like, what the fuck? This cat got all kinds of shit out that I ain't heard or whatever. So, yeah, you are mystery man. So let's get into the background of little J Scienide running around DC. Like I always like the history part of shit. So take us back to DC. I don't know much about DC. Take us back to you growing
Yo,
up and shit.
all right. See, that's all right. That's all I know. I don't know shit about DC either. Yeah, I was like, I'm a transplant. Like,
Oh, word.
mm-hmm. Like I grew up in my background is pretty much like North Carolina and New York and like and in DC. Like
Okay.
I grew up in Charlotte. Nobody not too many people know that. Yeah, North Carolina, Charlotte, man. Yeah, Charlotte Hornets, Carolina Panthers, all that shit.
And it's funny though. So I'm real big on accents,
My
right? And so I was listening to
accent,
you,
yeah.
and
I don't have a North Carolina accent. I have like it's more of like a I don't know what the fuck it is. But it's like I'm up a New York
it's
accent. I guess
more of a
because
New York accent. And I'm like, yo, wait, he's from DC, quote unquote. I'm like, but he sound. I hear like New York inflection. So North Carolina.
yeah, New York taught me and shit, yo. Yeah, man. Like, but yeah, North Carolina, bro.
Okay, so
Yeah,
take
yo, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Greer Heights. Shout out to everybody that grew up in Earl Village. Shout out to the Cotswold Comets, Billsville, all that shit, yo. Yeah, I know all that.
so take us back to North Carolina because that's even more interesting to me. Then, like as far as I know, I heard you tell in an interview about a story in fifth grade that got you into, really got you into rapping and shit. But I mean,
Oh,
like,
you heard that shit? All right.
yes.
So, yo, when I was yeah, like in the fifth grade, I think it was like Black History Month, and like a teacher came up and like she was like, yo, can y'all do some music for us for like Black History Month? It's like me and four other brothers in the class. So I'm like, yo, it's Black History Month. It's just us, and like, yo, we look at each other like, all right, okay, there's a couple other people in there, so we do like a Black History Month like rhyme. And so I got Harriet Tubman. So I'm doing I'm rhyming about Harriet Tubman. I forgot who else they had. We had this one dude, he's beating on the table. You know what I'm saying? And it sounded dope. I guess like our teacher, shout out to Miss Gatlin. She liked it. She's like, yo. So next thing I know, at the end of the day, they were like, well, y'all need to go to the office and do this for everybody like in school, like go to like the what's that shit, like we go out there, like we read the announcements and all that shit.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, go do it, don't go do that shit for the announcements. So we did that shit, then we had to do it again because everybody was all hyped about it, and I was like, you know what, I like this shit. Maybe I should start doing this shit a little bit more. So there you go. That's how it pretty much. That's how I pretty much started a fucking Harriet Tubman rap.
So
Hey,
then,
shit, it's crazy.
I mean, like early influences in North Carolina, and frame it for me like time wise. I'm not sure how old you are or anything like that. Like, just I mean, because I was in Virginia for a little bit when in the late '80s, and my hip hop experience was through like movies and TV. It wasn't through like local Virginia shit or anything. Like, what was it? I mean, for you, was it uncles, cousins? Like what kept you going? Because I think all of us that are older. I mean, I rapped a little bit. Everybody rapped a little bit at that time, but you kept it going. So, like, what kept it going?
Like getting like my friend Antoine, he came from Queens. I was getting like Red Alert tapes, like all the red. We was getting like all the Red Alert tapes. We were getting like Chuck Chill Out tapes. We was getting like Marley tapes, and he was like a little bit older than me, and he was just like he had all these fucking tapes and shit, and like just hearing that stuff, and then like hearing like this person rhyme, that person rhyme. That's what pretty much set it off for me. I was like, oh shit, this is dope, and then like just hearing that and then taking trips and going back and forth and like just getting like soaking all that in. Pretty much that's where it came from. Like my influences, like I really didn't have any influences like when I was down there. Like, but like, my influences are all like the New York dudes. Like it was like yeah, like your Kane and G Rap. De La Soul was a big influence on my style. Who else? Of course, like like Rakim. But like De La, like a Tribe Called Quest. Like when I discovered all that shit, it was just fucking over for me. I'm like, man. I'm like, yo, I done felt that way. Where my shit was like, I done felt my fucking my style, my whole shit. But it's like it was always like people like Kane and then like Wu-Tang and shit like that. That's how we all came up. And like listening to other types of music and shit. That's how I came up.
Yeah, you talked about that too, and I think that's a really big thing. You listed some groups that I've fucked with, like I think it was like the Doors or whatever, and like different shit and different. So how did you get into other types of music? Because I didn't really get into. My old roommates on here. I mean, I didn't. One of my old roommates. I didn't get into other types of music until I got a little older. Like, were you this? When
Yeah.
did you start getting? Well, so was it like in your 20s or?
Nah, probably when I was like little, yo, because my pops had mad records. So yeah, my dad would play like Genesis and like Peter. My dad was like one of them dudes. He was real like well rounded with the music. So I'm hearing like Genesis. I'm hearing Cameo. I'm hearing Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
I'm hearing like the Talking Heads. I'm hearing like all this different shit. And so like hearing that like Steely Dan, like me and Kev would sit around all night and talk about fucking Steely Dan records and shit. Like hearing stuff like that pretty much put a battery in my back. Sade and shit, like hearing all that. I remember where I was the first time I heard Sade record. So you use all that stuff and you put it into what you do now, so that's what I do now. I'm just putting all that old music that I used to hear around the crib that he used to play, and I just put it in there, like groups like Hiroshima, like Spiral Gyra, like Weather Report, all that shit.
Well, that's dope, yo. That's really dope, and it shows that like that. What I'm saying, hip hop is really broad. I mean, and that's the thing. Your native tongue point really underscores that, man. Because rest in peace, Trugoy.
Rest in peace, man.
That shit was crazy, and so go a little bit further into that as far as like that influence, because I know it blew my, when I first heard Jungle Brothers and Dale fucking Powers in my life.
That shit blew my mind, man. I flipped my shit. I was like, what the fuck? What is this? And I'm like, yo, this is stuff. I'm like, I'm like, yo, that's when I was around that time. That's when I really didn't know what samples was. Then I figured out what a sample was. And I like lost my mind. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, so this is how they do it. And it was just, like I said, it just blew it took me to another place, and I was like, okay, I can really actually probably do this shit then. You know, I'm hearing
Right.
records like my dad would play, and I'm like, wow, yo, these guys is really doing it.
Right.
So I'm like, why not? I want to try it too. I'm gonna try to do this. Why not?
What's your favorite De La joint? De La album?
Since everything came back out, I want to say the first one because that put me on. Like
Right.
I know, hearing I know, like you know what I'm saying, my dad like Peg. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad would play Peg sitting on the dock of the bay, stuff like that. For them to use that and flip it into flip it into some shit that's crazy. Potholes in my lawn. It gets hard to say which De La record because then you got De La Soul is Dead. Then you got Balloon Monster. Balloon Monster was like lately. Like I've been working on my next solo, my next project. And I'm listening to that a lot. You know, so I'm just like it's hard to say, but I probably gotta go with the first one because that set a lot of shit off for me.
Yeah. 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 No, I feel you. I mean, that was a groundbreaking album. Nothing else would have been out like it. I mean, they were on a different. They pushed the envelope, the Daisy shit, right, and everything. And so, no, I feel you on that. Mine personally is De La Soul is Dead, just because the brilliance of that album is just fucking
Oodles
crazy.
of O's, man. Like
that's my grandson's like one of his favorite songs.
Yeah.
Like I put that
Saturdays, shit all that shit. It's like it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say. I gotta put all of them together, even the later albums too. I gotta put all that shit together. It's like it's hard to say, but I'm gonna go with the first one. Watch tomorrow, it'll be some different shit.
No doubt. So I can't even ask you no DC questions, really, because
I mean, I've been there for a minute, so I'm like, yo, what you got?
No. I want to go back to this one thing first. So you're like the progression. So you're listening to these cats, and you're like, oh, I can do this or whatever. Like, so then, what was your first like group or not group or just first like real, recorded track where in the joint or even in the crib, like or whatever, like where you laid something down?
The first time was like the first time we went to it was like me and my boy Twan, we did some stuff before, and but it was like we went to this dude's studio, this crib, and it was like some these little keyboard beats. That shit was whack as fuck. So then like Twan kind of stopped doing it. I was kind of young. I was really young. So then I got with my boy Malik. Shout out to Malik and my boy my man Donnell. I got with them. So I got with them. And like we went to the studio. It's a studio called Reflections. I remember like Mike Geronimo recorded like his album there, some shit. Like it was like it's like random. Like I remember we went to the studio. We didn't have equipment, but we had like we would take music off the jazz station, and like we would put it to drums and shit, kind of like shit everybody was fucking doing back then. And we were like, and so we was in the studio. And I think I was maybe like 15, 16, and we did this song called like Over Your Head. I think I still got the tape. Like, and so, but it was so fucking dope. It was so way ahead. We did like some ultramagnetic shit. It was so way ahead of everybody else's shit because we was like poised. And it's crazy, it's funny. In that session, like right before that session, shout out to my boy Tommy. Tommy was another MC. He used to go by T Straight. Tommy was in a session with this dude named Gene Brown. And like, if you know Gene is like the record dude. And like, so I've known Gene. We sat in on Gene's session because he was making a beat for Tommy. That was the first time we went to the studio. Gene was in it. Gene was kind of like, to us, Gene was like, oh wow, Gene Brown. He was like that guy. He had records back then. And so I've known him since that time. Now Gene sells records to like fucking Jake One, Ninth, Premier, Pete Rock. Like he was an Alchemist. He was that dude then. He that dude now. So it's like, man, that record, Over Your Head, that was my first foray into like, yo, we could really do this shit. We was killing motherfuckers with that shit. We was doing like talent shows, and our shit was just way advanced than everybody else's shit, man. That shit was wild. Memories.
How it go?
Yo, how the song go?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know how that shit went. The Swift.
Oh,
I was going by A Swift then. The
hey,
Swift is infinite, no coincidence. I kick in an instant. It was like nobody else was rhyming like the way we were rhyming. We was going back and forth. I was like, I can't even fuck it. Yo, that shit was like even like the engineer, you know, it's like they were like, so sounds good, guys. You know, like sounds good. And they were really hyped about this shit. I think it took us like 20 minutes to do that shit, yo. That was back in the days, you know, you got like an hour, 2 hours in the studio. You gotta fucking use that time and shit. So if that's the kind of like, so I'm like, even to this day, like if I'm recording some shit, I ain't trying to waste nobody's fucking time. Let's get this shit done. I ain't got time to sit around and fucking drink and do that shit. We can do that shit afterwards. Fuck out of here with that. That's the way I am.
No, that's because you're on the dime.
Money,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. No, what year was this? You remember roughly?
90 something. I don't know, like 95,
Okay.
96. Yeah.
Damn. Fucking over your head. You said you still got the tape.
Yeah, I know, some black Maxell tape.
All right. So then when you
put that shit out, I had to digitize that shit.
You should.
For real.
No.
Yo, I'm thinking about it, man. Put that on 45 or something.
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
Oh man.
Because from a marketing perspective, I mean that's right. Old is good now, right? Like so you can dig up your old drawers, nigga, like from back to 30 years ago. It's for real. It's that's people on that shit. So put it out. Put it out. You know what I'm saying? Yo, all right. So when did you get to DC, or like when did that transition come?
Like I got to DC around when did Obama get elected? Like 08? Yeah, like around I got there around 08. I got there right around that time. I ain't really know nobody. Like, you know, I'm like, I was married at the time. She took a job transfer. My job transferred me up there. So I was working in Baltimore. So I was living like in PG County. So it was cool. You know what I'm saying? I would go to DC because it's DC and Baltimore. You're right there and shit. So I was just there. And then like, but I didn't really know nobody. So I would like, only person I knew was like my boy Two Tone Jones. Like shout out DJ Two Tone Jones. Cause he's actually from Charlotte and I used to go to school with his sister. And like Two Tone was DJing for John Robinson, like Lil Psy around that time. So I knew him and he invited me to go to the radio station and I didn't know nobody. So I used to sit there and watch him and DJ RBI, like watch them spin and interview other DC acts and shit like that. But I used to sit back there and play my position. I used to sit in the back and just watch. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't know me. I ain't know them. So I used to sit back there and like, you know, just watch them and shit. And see what they was doing. Like kind of like learn the city. Then, I mean, after a while, you know what I'm saying? Life goes on. Got divorced. I'm in fucking DC. Like I don't fucking know nobody and shit. So then I'm like, yo, what the fuck am I gonna do? I ain't have my equipment. And then one day the sun just crept through the curtain and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm single. Let me find out what the fuck is this city about. So I started meeting people, started interacting with people. When I got my equipment and fucking it was on after that and shit, yo. It was on. I just started doing little things. Those who know. But I still spent more of my time like in New York. I'll be back and forth and back, like all the time. But yeah, like around that time, that's when I started bumping into like other people like in the city, like, you know, like Low Budget, like Kev and everybody else. So yeah, that was some really good times, man.
What's the DC scene like? One city I don't know much about. I've been to Baltimore a bunch of times, but I've only go to DC on like 8th grade trips and shit. So
yo, it's like DC is like a melting pot of all kind of shit. Of course you got go-go.
Mm-hmm.
You got a nice R&B scene, nice soul, dope DJs. But then you got the MCs, man. It's like everybody is different. Everybody's their own fucking island. Everybody's so different. You got and there's so many fucking talented ass beat makers like in the city. Like DC it's a creative space. It's a creative city. like when you get there, you could just feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's like syllables of it, and there's so many types, so much type, so many genres. Like you gotta think back in the '80s, the punk scene in
Yeah.
DC, like with Bad Brains and like with Henry Rollins, shit like that. This group Urban Verbs and shit like that. Yo, it was so fucking dope. Like these are records I find all the way, like I find out sometimes and stuff. Like there was a big punk scene there also. So big punk, big go-go, and they like mesh just like how New York City, the punk scene in New York, the uptown and the downtown got together. It's pretty much the same. It was similar in DC also. So yeah, man, yeah, it's a dope city. It's a lot of music there.
Dope. No, that's good things there.
Gentrifying like shit, but it's a lot of music there.
Yeah, I mean, what city isn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
true
so
indeed.
many like neighborhoods are turning. They're just renaming them shits. Like, oh, that neighborhood didn't exist. What you
Hell
talking
yeah,
about?
what you like people think like what neighborhood is that? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, where the fuck did you get this name from? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, that's some wild shit. Like, you know, you looking for a spot. You're like, yo, this neighborhood ain't here. Um,
And I don't know this shit. I don't know the street. I don't know.
so bring us up to like as far as the producing goes, man. I didn't um even when I didn't even realize because I was listening to all your shit on digital, the shit that I listened to. So I didn't even realize that you was produced the actual heat until later, after the fact. So most of the joints, like almost all the joints on this. So which do you fuck with more? Is there one that you rock with more? Like, is you have to be in the mood? Like, what prompts you to do what as far as MC or spits? Because I think salute to everybody that does that shit and does it well. By the way,
I don't know. I kind of like fuck with both, like 50-50. Some days I'm like, I made these beats like Monday. I gotta write to this shit. Like, let me write something to it. So if I'm in the mood, it might be a line, or it might be something I caught on TV, or something I might said something. It might be a word. Just that one word would just make me like want to write this or write that, or like or just do that. But like lately it's been beats because I'm working on a lot of stuff like right now. Like so I'm kind of like in beat mode. So I just been digging a lot. Like buying records, like going through my collection. So it's been like a lot of production. You'll probably see a lot of production and stuff coming up like in the next couple of months. Like it's funny because like a lot of people don't know that I produce. And like when oh, you produce, you did that. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. You don't see me right, like it says produced by J Scienide right there, or like on the back. I like, yeah, like I did that, and it's like it's cool, but I'm like, yo, sometimes I just be like, oh my god, yo, just you gotta read, man.
right,
Reading is
right. Nah,
fun, it's fundamental, but yeah, like production, like when I get in the night, I gotta write some stuff, and I'm you know what I'm saying, make a couple of beats. So I'll be up late.
you doing shit for other people or just for yourself?
I'm starting to do more stuff for like other people. Like for instance, like I run my own label and I'm about to start doing some stuff for I finished the album for another one of my brothers, also from DC. A lot of people didn't know Napoleon the Legend.
Yeah, pick up
So
them.
yeah, like so we got an album coming out called Goat versus Sheep. So I produced the whole thing. So he rhyming. So it's fun, like actually get a chance to like put something out like that for somebody else. So
Are
I'm
you are
working
you
on.
on it at all?
I'm on it like three. I'm on 3 songs.
What is
Like shout out to my brother, like Damu the Fudge Monk. Damu mixed and mastered it for me. I did all the beats, and I remember when I finished with it. We finished it. Damu hit me up, and he was like, "Yeah, this album," and you can hear it too. This album, like I did for Napoleon, it sounds like a cross. I can say it too. It sounds like he says it sounds like a cross between Hard to Earn and a Mad Lib beat tape. So I'm like, did I've done well. I've done well. That's good. Yeah, I flipped a lot of crazy shit on that album, so it'll be out real soon. I'm just trying to figure out when, like when I'm put it out, the date. But yeah, like I've done that, working on production. I just wrapped up an album with. I just went back over to London and did some shit with Sonny, like Sonny Jim. So I did that. So I'm doing like a bunch of things. I got a couple of things too in the works, like well, a couple other artists. So yeah, like I'm trying to get the production name out too, man. Yo, trying to do all that shit.
Hell yeah. I mean, you gotta have a lot of irons in the fire now, man. I think for MCs that just like it's hard just if you just rap. I mean, you got many styles, many things that you do. So this joint is Napoleon's joint though, for the most part, right? I mean, it's his project.
It's like Napoleon and J Scienide. It's a
Okay.
collabo album.
Okay.
So like I say, like, but it's like everything like was produced by me.
Dope.
Like only thing like I think Damu did some scratches and John Doe did some scratches, but like I just produced everything. They made all the beats and shit. And like working with Kev, like working with Kev Brown, like people like just assume like Kev does all the beats. But like when we work on our projects, we split it up.
Right.
We make sure we split that shit up. Yo, it was fun. Those projects are fun.
Right. No, that's dope, man. I can't wait to hear that, man. Napoleon's dope. He's been on the show before. He puts out a lot of heat and
yeah.
He's not. He's very, very dope. No, that's dope, man. And I think from a production standpoint, like, what do you pull from there as far as like inspiration? Like, because I love your beats, and now that I'm really paying attention to like the ones that you're doing, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
thank you. Man.
What are your like major influences from that angle?
Okay, from like beat wise, my people, you got your of course large, Pete Rock, and of course like Premier, but then like mine also, I fuck heavy like I work like just like the 45 King, like shit like 45 King, Q-Tip. Q-Tip is a big influence of mine. Like I'm like Q-Tip, The Alchemist, Madlib, of course. Said G, like a lot of the ultra magnetic, this wild raw shit, Prince Paul, like shit like that is what really gets me like going. Shit Rock does, like Rock Marcy does and shit like that beat like Snow. Come on, baby. Back in the day, all that shit, man, that shit is crazy. Like stuff like that really gets me going. Like I'll listen to like old funk or like boogie, like modern funk records, and then I go home and just make something just totally fucking different, but it gets me into a vibe to work. Same thing with like listening to like old punk records or like old like anything industrial records, anything just crazy that I could get an idea from. It's going to prompt me to either write or it's going to prompt me to either make a beat or some shit like that.
Right.
So I try to listen to what everybody else is listening to.
No,
and the Bomb Squad. Bomb Squad is big influence too, yo.
Yeah, you named some heavy hitters, man. Prince Paul,
Yeah, man.
the Nicky Love. I mean, he's basically had like 4 distinct careers. If you look at his shit, like it's Stetsasonic, Gravedigger. I mean, Prince Paul, he's one of my.
Shout out to all of them. Shout out to Buck Wild, yo, digging in the crates, all of that, Diamond, Showbiz, all that shit, yo, all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue with any of that at all. Yo, how'd you link up with Body Bag?
Oh, that's crazy. So I remember I was on Instagram and I was just looking at some stuff and I kept seeing his name, Body Bag Ben, and he was posting all these beats. And I'm like, yo, who the fuck is Body Bag Ben? And so I reached out to him and he just hit me right back. He was familiar with some of the stuff that I was doing. And I remember he was putting out an album called The Season. It was his first one. So it had like a who's who was doing what. Like, I mean, like it was like so many of us that was on that album. And he hit me up about doing a joint. So I did a joint for him. And it was just like yo, I sent it right back to him. He was like, oh shit. So he just started sending me beats. So then he sent me this beat for the song called Square Iris. So I did that. And I got my boy, shout out to Baltimore, peace to God, I got Ill Conscious on it. Ill Conscious around, and then like we had something, and he was like, yo, let's go ahead and make an album. And then the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, I was like, like, let me get some recording equipment and just start doing this shit in the house. And like, that was the first thing I started working on when I was in the crib. The next song I did was, I don't forgot. Like, yo, what's the, yo, how you see my, God, what song is that? It's the one I got a video for, and I'm walking around, like, walking around Brooklyn, like, and I got blood all over me and shit.
Oh, I just peeped it the other day. Shit. Hold on. I'm about to find.
Yo, shout out to my brother. Shout out to Devin. We shot that shit like at 4 o'clock in the morning in Brooklyn. Yo, we had, yo, I like, yo, we want running, yo, dragging a body
Stepping
bag through
Stone.
Brooklyn. Stepping Stone, yeah, dragging a body bag through Brooklyn at 4 o'clock in the morning is not fucking the greatest thing in the world. This motherfucking dude, everybody was looking at us like, what the fuck? And I'm tugging this body back like a body was in that bitch, and I threw it in the water, and people just looking at us like, what the fuck are they doing? Anyway, yeah, so that was the second song. Then I just kept going from there, man. Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's a crazy video. I forgot about that. That's a crazy video. So, no, that's dope, man. He's a dope, he can spit, too. He's a dope producer.
Yo, hell yeah, yo. Ben is a dope MC. Yo, he's a triple threat. Because he's a dope MC, dope producer, and he can cut. He can DJ. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, he's good. He good. He good.
It's that he put out an album called, man, last year, Vulgar Display, which was crazy.
Display. He put out a bunch of shit. Yo, shout out the body bag, motherfucker.
Shout out the body.
Hell yeah.
He's been killing, and that was a name. That was another name. That was a name that I was like forced to hear the past 3 or 4 years, right? Like he was putting out. So I was like, yo, who the fuck?
Now shit, yeah.
Heaters, but it was all heat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, big up to him. This joint right here. So
that's my baby right there, man. That's the one. That's the setup. You got the original, yeah. You got the OG copy, yeah. That's my joint right there. That's the joint, man. That album right there, bro. Wow. Like I did that shit. I was living in like in a basement apartment. I had all my records, and I was just like, I started putting out little singles and shit, and like just like little singles here and there. And I was like, you know what? I need to make a fucking album. And so that's what that was. Like, I remember I made all the beats, except for one. Peace to the guy, peace to Gensu Dean. He did the Jux.
Yeah. That's a home run.
Yeah. Yo, so I did everything, and then I went to the studio with me and Kev. Kev mixed it, and like he just watched me, like how I make beats. My method is a little bit different than everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
I got prehistoric old ass fucking equipment and shit, and he's just like, yo, he's just looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, but then he got it. Like, he seen me making shit, and then like he seen me when I remember when I played him the beat for Ghetto. He was just like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He got on that joint, we rhymed on it. That, like, it's a sight to behold to watch us do that shit live, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, you know, when you have somebody like that and they fucking with the shit that you doing, like beat-wise, you doing something. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, when he was fucking with it, like, I knew I had something. And then, like even on Discogs, like, that year, it was, like, out of the 500 releases, it was on Discogs, it was on some site, out of 500 releases, it was, like, number 4. And, like, I was, like, right under, like, Jay-Z or some shit. And I was like, God damn. I was like, yo, this people really are fucking with this album. It really did good, man. Then like a lot of radio, like when Flex played the album, that shit was over. Like Flex wrote, like shout out to Funkmaster Flex. When he played that shit put me in a hole. We was at a fucking bar, me and my boy Ace. Yo, Ace did the cover for us. Shout out to Ace. We was at a fucking bar. We just drove back from New York. We was at a bar in DC. And fuck, I remember Hip Hop Mike or somebody hit me up and they was like, yo, Flex running your shit. He played Open Letter for fucking 15 minutes straight. Fuck, that was it. That put me in a whole nother level, man.
Wow.
When he played it, Rosenberg played it, Stretching Bobito played it. I was like, okay, cool. We somewhere else with this shit. So yeah, man. shout out to the actual Heat, man. Hey, that's my shit. Shout out to everybody that was on it too.
Yeah, no, it's a banger, man. It's a banger. That's that joint right there. And what's your favorite? You got a favorite joint on there? Like a
Uh, right now, I'm telling you that shit changes up like all the time, man. Right now it's probably Chasers. Chasers is probably my favorite one right now. Like tomorrow is gonna be something else. Cause I was listening to Chasers earlier, randomly came on, so I'm like, yeah, like that shit was dope. That beat was retarded. So I was like, yeah, I like that one.
like what was the what were you feeling like when you were making that album? Like what as far as like what was the energy behind it? Like as far as like some of these tracks, as far as like I'm hearing you talk at the beginning of the Jux, you know what I mean? You know, like about like somebody need to get their shit took, you know what I'm saying? Like just what was the
What was my shit was just like to basically like it's like everybody was it's like yo, everybody was I seen it like this, like everybody was in this fucking room. Like all the new MCs, old MCs, producers, DJs, everybody's in this room and they just fucking talking and shit. That's how I felt. And then I opened the door and it just got quiet. And I was like, yo, how y'all doing? I introduced myself. And I'm stepping into that fucking world too. That's how it was when I made that album. You know, it's like everybody, like, you know, like you walk in the, you know, like, yo, even like when you were a kid and the fucking, somebody new, like a new student come, everybody looking at that motherfucker and shit, like, who the fuck is this? Everybody like making noise and throwing planes, I don't know, doing shit in the classroom. That's me, I'm walking into the class, and I'm just like, yo, I'm one of y'all motherfuckers and shit. And I introduced myself, and ever since then, I'm here. That's it. That's how I see it. That's how I saw it.
all right. Nah, that's a great way to explain it. So I mean, so big up to my man Boo the Prince. Salute.
Peace.
Yo, so what up with like as far as if someone with a lock, find your music, a couple hundred years from now, you know what I'm saying, in a bottle or some shit on the street or whatever. And what would you want them to get out of it? Like, or just, a snapshot of just who are you as the artist, as the person? Like, what would you want them to get out of your music? If they grab this joint or if they grab any of your joints, the most recent shit with D Styles, crazy. Big up to him. He's on the joint. Big up D Styles. So yeah, like what would you want them to grab from your music?
I always want them to know that, like, wow, he was a creative, he was an individual, and he did what the fuck he wanted to do. That's what I want them to get out of it. Like, this is like, I want them to be like, oh wow, this is different than pretty much any other thing that I've listened to or heard. Or like, so this guy, whoever he was, like, back then, and they find out who I am and shit like that. Like, he did things on his own terms and shit like that. So yeah, that's what I want them to get out of that shit.
Dope. In your bio, yo, it says that you're a life coach. Talk about that, man. I mean, what's the deal with that?
I ain't no fucking life coach. I just
You're a liar?
put that shit on there funny. Yo, I just put that shit on there to just be
You're
funny.
an asshole.
But like, what's funny though is like,
put asshole
like,
in this shit.
That too. But yo, what's funny and shit is like the past couple of months, I've been getting all these fucking grades and shit, right? So motherfuckers be coming to me like, hey, like in my DMs, like it be other rappers and people I know, like, hey, peace, OG. I need some advice. I'm like, like, yo, for real? I like advice about what? Like, yo, you look like you got some wisdom. I think I got fucking some gray hairs. I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, what do you want? That's what I get all the time now, yo.
Stop.
I'm like, yo, peace, OG. Peace, OG. I'll be like, oh my God. Now, some people, I'm like, nigga, you older than me. I'm like, yo, give me some advice. So maybe that life coach shit is working, man. I mean, I give him advice, so I'm like, yo, as best as I can. But I'm like, yeah, maybe it is working and shit.
This guy put the shit in there. So put it. All right.
I just threw that shit in there.
You're a fucking life. Yeah. All right. I can rock with you then. That's some shit I would do. So I feel you. I feel you. Play me on my own shit. All right. Cool. Touche, J Scienide, the life coach. but yo, you do look wise. I mean, but here's the thing, right? So I get the same shit. So do you actually give him advice though, right? Do you actually?
Yeah, I give him advice. I'm
Okay.
like, yo, what? I'm like, yo, I give him advice. I'm like, yo, yeah, thank you, OG. I'm like, yo, stop saying that. Just say my name. Just say me. You know me.
Yo,
That's it. You know me. I'm like, oh my God, yo, come on with that, yo. But yeah, I give the advice. I give advice when I can. You know, when I can, I give it. I give advice.
he don't like the OG shit.
It be
Fuckers.
like, yeah, I'll be like, yo, dude. I'm like, man, I'm having a great day, and I'm like, hey, I need some OG. I need some advice. I'm like, who is you? Who is this? What do you want? What do you want? Talk to me. What do you want?
Yo. Oh shit. Damn, you fucked all my questions up, man. With the fucking, you're not from DC, and fucking, you're not a life coach, but you are. So, yo, name one thing, or multiple things, if there are, or the biggest thing that you would change in the game today.
The originality, man. Like, I'm just like, yo, just be original. Like, be you. Like, everybody's following like trends. Yo, be a trailblazer. Like, yo, set the trends. Like, do yeah, let's do you. I'm like, yo, you ain't gotta. If you know you can't rhyme in that tempo, don't rhyme in that tempo. Like certain things, or like, yo, speed that shit the fuck up a little bit sometimes, man. Just be you. Just like be original. That's it. It's just originality, man. That's all. Like, just be original. Like, you know, sometimes you turn on radio, you hear the same shit. Everybody talking about the same shit. Just be original. This shit I talk about with my friends like every day, you know, and like other artists, like my peers. So I'm like, just basically just be original and just stick to your guns. Like, you know, it works. It works.
It absolutely does. No, I think that, yeah, it's definitely lacking in the game. I mean, even in the quote unquote underground scene. I mean, not just the mainstream. I mean, everybody's sounding alike. Even the hardcore, the hard gangster cat. Everybody's sounding like, yeah, everybody's sounding like you're a breath of fresh air, man. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you.
Thanks, man. Yo, I appreciate that.
I fucks with your music. I'm mad though because like the algorithms are so crazy that like I don't, you know, I follow you and shit, but I don't. I have to go to your page to see shit. So, and I'm like, and I'm hot when I was like kind of researching for the interview and stuff and preparing for it. I'm like, damn, this dude dropped ass shit in between, like over the past couple of years. You've been like
Like that,
all over the place.
singles, EPs, albums, yeah, a lot.
Yo, I was gonna ask this too. I'm gonna bring this up. My man, my CTC fans asked me, yeah, how'd you come up with that name? Cyanide, that's a poison, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, where'd you get
Oh,
that name?
The J Scienide name. Okay, you know, so I, so the J is from my middle name. My middle name is James. If you look at any other my old releases, it'll say James Cyanide. If you go to Discogs, it'll say it's fucking James Cyanide. Like certain UK like labels will put James Cyanide and shit. That came from that. The sign, the SCI part, SCIE, whatever it came from, the SCIE part, whatever, it came from like scientific. Like I came from, you know, a nation of gods and earths. And so my name, like everybody used to call me scientific.
Okay.
Everybody used to call me that. It's scientific. And I used to rhyme under the name Sun Scientific, you know, so that comes from that scientific. Those who know me know that. And then the cyanide, the end part is from like basically it's a play on the word cyanide. Like I remember I used to play stuff for people back in the days and like beats or like play old shit. And they'd be like, yo, man, like you got a sick, you don't rhyme like no, but this person, you got a sick style. It's kind of like cyanide. And I was like, huh, that sounds cool. I was like, yo, so I just put all that shit together. And so that's how you get J Scienide. That's how you get the
That's dope.
name. Yeah.
Do you incorporate any of the lessons, supreme mathematics and stuff like that in your shit at all?
Yeah, I do. Like I do. I think like once you, I think like once you get the knowledge, yo, it just, I'm like, yo, you just basically like you know your shit and stuff, or like yo you learning anything like that, you gonna throw it, anything that you're learning, you gonna throw it in your rhymes and shit too, yo. So like sometimes you sprinkle it, you sprinkle stuff here and there, or you pour it in like this and that. So yeah, like I don't go too crazy with it, like so, but just enough,
Yeah.
that's all. A little bit.
Yo, so what's next on the horizon for you? Well, well, short term and big picture. Like, what's the end game? You know what I mean? Some people like I know MCs that are dope and they have great 9 to 5 jobs, and they're like, yo, I just do this and because I like doing it. You know what I'm saying? My other job is my shit. Or another cats are like, yo, I'm trying to crush motherfuckers and take over the world. Some cats are like, whatever. So where are you with it, like long term?
Just to keep like, I mean, just keep creating, like working on new stuff, working with other artists, going fucking different places, going to different countries, just taking walks and buying fucking records and shit. Just be able to like to live off the shit and still love it, because I don't want to be one of the people that hate what the fuck they doing, they just got and they have to do it. Yeah, I never want that. Just be able to like live comfortable with this hip hop shit, and like just just see some things and like experience some shit. That's it. But just keep putting out dope music and just keep being if you're creative, you're just gonna keep on creating. So that's basically it. I just want to keep on creating. That's all.
Just keep it pushing. So, and what should we be looking out for you immediately on the horizon? I mean, you stay working. What can you know
Let's see. What else? What up, yo? I might look out for like the Napoleon the
Yeah,
Legend album.
when? I mean, you got a time period on that? Man, I'm hungry for that.
I'm thinking like June. I'm thinking June.
I'm
Cause
gonna
like,
hit him up, right?
Napoleon always dropping, so they're like, yo, we said June. I talked to him the other day, so we said June. So that's coming out. What else I got? I got a whole project with I spent a lot of time like out like over in the UK. Like I shout out to the UK. That's a big fan base of mine. So I finished the album with Giallo Point. So that'll be coming out. That's called Flashes in the Dark. So that should probably be out like this summer also. That's done. The album with Sonny, shout out to Sonny Jim. Like yo, that's pretty much wraps. So all these projects is coming out. Then I got another project, my own project coming out. I'm halfway done with that. I'll probably throw out an EP and some singles and shit, like like probably in the next couple of weeks. Just talking to a couple of people, trying to make sure everything is right. About putting out some stuff. I got a few things coming out, and people gonna be like, "Wow, man! Like, wow, how did you get that? How did you do that shit?" Kind of like, yo, how did you do that? Kind of like when I did the Derringer shit. Like, people was like, yo, how the fuck did you do that shit? I fucking work. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of fucking other work, a lot of joints coming out production wise, things from the label, and yeah, man, like this year is gonna be crazy, man. Every night I'm fucking making a beat or rhyming and sending out emails and shit. So, talking to this person, that person. So look out this year, like it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be a busy year, shit.
Nah,
4 projects are already done.
Word. Nah, that's what's up, man. That's dope. I mean, I just have to just physically go to your page and stay tuned in. But I'm gonna actually hit you with our email for when, like, cause I'm sure you send out music to DJs and shit. So because I wanna be looped in. Cause I'm hot, yo. I went to the Spotify and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is? I was heated.
Yeah. Like sometimes I just threw shit out, like for my born day, like was like July. Like I just threw out like Chaos Cycle, and I had a song on there like Clarity, whatever, like different shit, and it should just be popping. So I'm just like, yo, just throw different things out sometimes. If I got a beat or something that's laying around, I'm like, yo, I'm starting to be like, yo, let me just put this out and shit. Put this out in the world instead of just sitting on shit.
No, that's dope, man. We're gonna let you get on out of here. You're sitting in the parking lot. Thank you for
Hell yeah.
accommodating us. And
yeah. Let me get the fuck out of this parking lot.
apologies. So, but I appreciate you even doing that. Like I said, niggas be falling asleep and other things. So thank you for vibing with us, man. And I'm serious. I'm literally falling asleep. Thanks, man. No, we appreciate you. And like I said, for me, I just genuinely wanted to know more about you. You know, and
I
I'm
hope
excited.
I hope I answered some questions. You know.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, man. We good. Great conversation. I mean, it was a good conversation for me. So I got me, gave me a lot of information. I mean, you're not from DC and you're not a life coach. Thanks. So it's no, but it's dope. You're dope MC, dope producer, man. And we're locked in, man. So we appreciate you. We're gonna get this up on our YouTube channel, and then we're going live in a little bit with Save the Hip Hop Culture. We're gonna be interviewing 47-year-old b-boy out of the Bay Area, Profo. And so that's going to be dope. So rock with us. We'll get this up on the YouTube fam. I'll tag you and all that shit, and let you know how we get it up. And thank you again. Appreciate you for real.
Yo, appreciate you too, man.
Absolutely, everybody. Everybody be good. Salute to everybody joining in the show. We'll talk to you. Peace.
All right, later.